In this video, we're going to find out the rules for how to multiply negative numbers. So here we go. We're going to begin by looking for patterns, all right? And we're going to start with stuff we know. Positive 5 plus positive 3 is 15. That's like third grade multiplication times tables. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 0 is 0. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look for a pattern. And we can see that I've begun all the first numbers with a 5. The second number is going down by 1 each time, and as a result, the product is going down by 5. So if I were to go down to negative 1, that means the answer is going to go down by 5, which gives us the answer of negative 5. And if I were to lower this by another 1 to negative 2, we would expect this pattern to continue, and the answer would be negative 10. So 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Now, what we should be able to see is that 5 times 3 is 15, 5 times 3 is 15. So when you're looking at just the absolute values, the absolute value of 5 and negative 3 is 5 and 3. The absolute values, if we multiply them, it seems like the answer is correct. Now the big question is whether the answer is supposed to be positive or negative, and we haven't quite answered that question yet, but it does seem that we can multiply the absolute values and get the product. Now the question remains whether the answer is positive or negative. Now let's take a look at this 5 times negative 3. And multiplication, we remember, is commutative. And what that means is you learned that 5 times 6 is equal to 6 times 5. That they're both answers, both products are 30. And so we learned in earlier grades that multiplication is commutative. So if we were to use that same idea, that 5 times negative 3 is negative 15, that means negative 3 times positive 5 is negative 15. That we can reverse the order and we're still going to get the exact same answer. Multiplication is commutative. Well, let's keep going. So now, if we were to do negative 3 times positive 4, we're going to get negative 12. Why? Because over here, if I were to change these 5s into a 4, we would have 4 times 3, 4 times 2, 4 times 1, and we could work our way down to 4 times negative 3, and we would discover in this rule that 4 times negative 3 was negative 12. Now we're starting to see a pattern here, and that if I were to continue, negative 3 times positive 3, I get negative 9. Negative 3 times positive 2 is negative 6. And then if I were to continue on down, I would get all the way down to negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. So the pattern we would be seeing here is the first number is going to be staying the same. And as this number goes down by 1, the answer is actually increasing by 3 each time. I know this kind of looks like it's decreasing, but it's actually increasing because negative 12 is larger than negative 15. So this is going up by 3, up by 3, up by 3, up by 3, up by 3. So now we've derived these problems and these answers purely by following a pattern. I haven't taught you any tricks or anything. We're just using logic, and we're discovering these tables. And we don't have to do 5. We could do 4s. We could do the 7s. And over here as a result, because once we get down into the negatives over here, multiplication is commutative, and we can have this front number be anything we want. And we could derive these answers by using nothing but patterns. But now we want to try and find the rule. And so as we can see in these tables, we can see that right here, timesing by 0 always gives you an answer of 0. But we could see up here and down here. Oops, too far. Right there. We can see that these answers are always positives. And then we can see that these right here and these right, goodness gracious, right here The answers are always negative. And so what we could do is we can put these two things together and we can see that answers that are negative always have a number being, one number is negative, the other being positive, or the other one number being positive and the other is negative. And we can see that when the products are positive, that's down here and up here, we can see it's because the two signs are both positive, or over here, the two signs are negative. When multiplying by 0, the answer is always 0, no matter what that front number is. So the rule, in a nice, neat way of saying it, right here, we can say that when multiplying two numbers, if the signs are the same, the product is positive, and if the signs are different, the answer is, or the product is negative.